All right, ladies and gentlemen, to all two of you that are tuned in as this stream goes live, I, as always, am AJS0, and I am joined here with Thrifty Senpai and My Wang, because one of them sucks like me and one of them earned this week off. All right, and we are here to bring and gentlemen, first two playoff that are tuned in as this season of Swing Daddy League. We got Forces of Nature versus Sharkbait HooHa, and I am very excited to watch our first best of five in a while. Guys, how you doing?
Doing well.
Doing fantastic.
Excited to see these two teams play.
Oh yeah, no, we have two very strong teams here. They've been neck and neck for most of the season, so it's good to see how it's interesting to see how they'll actually play out now that we get to see them play more than just one game in a night.
Yeah, I think this was really a matchup that I think before last week it was safe to assume was going to go to a tiebreaker until Sharkbait dropped the ball versus Guerrilla Radio. So these guys were very close, but I feel like Forces of Nature closed out their season a little better. Tree started to look more and more comfortable after his month hiatus, and I feel like this team has kind of started getting back into form as the season's gone on. Whereas obviously Sharkbait dropped the only game Guerrilla Radio won that wasn't WCF last week. So that is the meme here, a worrying trend.
Indeed. And while we're working out with these worrying trends and everything, let's hear some actual predictions going into the game, just to continue with the world's theme. What do you guys think is going to be the result of this series? Give me a winning team and a number of games.
Okay, I'm going to rant here. I hate doing predictions because 3-1 is the most boring prediction in the world, where as long as you pick the right team, you're not really saying anything about how the set's going to go. But I think Forces of Nature are going to win this 3-1. I think they've looked like the better team. Sharkbait went 5-5, and I still don't really know what their strength is. They actually remind me a lot of Team Flashlight from last season, just not quite as good.
Shit. We actually have a problem with the stream.
Uh-oh.
What is the problem with
the picks aren't showing up? Oh, wait a minute. There we go. Yep, never mind. We got this.
Alright, well, please bear with us. We do have the one and only My Wang running the stream tonight.
Yeah.
So there may be a few technical difficulties. We will try to work through them.
There we go.
Possible. Alright, so looking at these bans, Lulu and Yasuo being taken away from Sharkbait to start this draft out. And Fiora being taken away from Skyner, being taken away from Forces of Nature. Followed up by a Malphite.
I mean, all these are pretty strong bans on the current patch. However, I have to say, and all of them I think are very reasonable, except I'm very surprised by the Yasuo ban.
Have we even seen a strong Yasuo player in the SBL?
Now, I don't remember for sure if this was the champion he won with, but Madam Strip and Blabur actually played in the championship round a week and a half ago at Pong's League of Legends 1 vs 1 tournament. And I think that Strip might have played Yasuo in that matchup.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure that, because I played Strip in the finals of that, and I believe he told me that was one of his first times playing Yasuo. Which really would not surprise me.
That's a very Madam Strip thing to do. I've seen him play a few times with Yasuo. I mean, it's nothing incredible. It's not bad by any means, but it's nothing that's like, oh, we have to ban this. So I really wonder what's coming out with that.
Well, they apparently disagree with you.
Yeah, I know.
Those teams are playing tonight, so.
Yeah.
And then the last ban is Lux being taken away from Labur. That's another bit of a surprising ban. It's definitely his kind of play style to play something like Lux, but I'm really surprised to see the Lux being taken away instead of something like Vel'Koz that he's actually been playing this.
Why would you not take away that Vel'Koz? He has looked so strong on that all season long.
I think it's probably a power level in the thing in the game. So apparently volume level needs to go. I don't know. There's something with the volume levels comment on the stream. Check that out. But I think it's just also like style of the champion. Personally, I think Lux is a stronger champion on this patch than Vel'Koz is. But who knows? We get a Wukong and a Sivir pick coming out. Wukong could be a top or jungle flex pick, and everyone in the Battle League is obviously very familiar with Sivir and what Sivir does.
Yeah, that Wukong I think is partially a flex pick and partially a denial pick. It's been I'm Just Dan's most played champion in actual SBL games this season. Something he's typically done very, very well in lane on, and when it's gone well, it's been a big part of those wins.
And even in the ones where it hasn't gone like fantastic for him, he's still actually been able to stay relevant in the game. He goes ahead, he splits push, he causes some distraction. It's a champion that he's just so comfortable on, even if he falls behind. He doesn't have too many big problems.
I think we really saw that a few weeks ago.
Wang, before we go, apparently you're quite a bit louder than the other two of us, so if you want to tweak that real fast. TeamSpeak up or you down in OBS, whatever works.
Okay.
But thank you, Muffin, for the clarification. Watching his team in a playoff set, this is Muffin's first season doing anything with the Batty League, and his team got third. He's got to be at least somewhat happy with that, especially for the number of sub games they had to play when Tree wasn't able to practice with the team at all.
Yeah. Well, they've definitely had they've had to do a good amount of sub games. There's been a lot of subs throughout this entire Batty League season, honestly. The only team that really hasn't been hit by a lot of subs I can think of is actually Salt Shaker. I think they've only had to have one or two.
Yeah, the subs have really been more valuable than ever this season. Because I believe a vast majority of sub games were lost by the teams playing subs.
Yeah.
More so than normal.
I feel like this season more than ever, subs got used effectively a lot more. Like, there were a lot of times when those subs on the bench were ended up being starting players, like in the case of K King or Boozegraph for WCF.
All right. Getting back into this draft, we see the Hibs Destiny bot lane taking their Thresh yet again, something they've had in a lot of games this season. And Darius being taken by a Strip, that definitely seems like something I would expect Strip to pick.
Oh yeah, he's a really, really powerful champion on this patch. That confirms it as a Wukong jungle. But
That Wombo combo.
Oh. I was much more excited for the Ribbon, but Olaf, I believe, has a fairly good matchup versus Darius.
Yeah, that's actually a really good pick, Olaf. He can just charge through that team with the Orianna ball on it.
Yeah, the Orianna ball is a nice speed up boost. They have a lot of initiation to make sure that Olaf can get into the fight as well, between Vi ult and Ashe ult to set up. Just a whole bunch of initiation plays. And of course, Orianna can also just make an initiation on her own, so we're not paying attention to where the ball is at. Apparently, you're still much louder, Wang.
Okay.
So, you gotta
I'm
probably turn TeamSpeak up a little bit. And if you do that, maybe just turn on your computer volume.
Yeah, I'm turning myself down to 10%.
Yeah. On the other hand, we have a little bit of everything coming out from the Team Sharkbait. They have some fairly strong pick with Ahri and Thresh, solid engage with Sivir and Wukong potential, and Darius just kind of does Darius things.
Yeah, I definitely think Sharkbait's going to be looking to do picks and small skirmishes more than 5v5s with that comp.
Oh yeah. I mean, Team Forces of Nature's team comp is literally just 100% geared around. It does have big potential, but it is a team that wants to 5v5 fight. They want to be starting the fight, and they want to be finishing it. If they want to get an Ashe Arrow in or a Vi ult in, and then just a whole bunch of Wombo, everyone runs down, kill 2 or 3 members before the fight really even got going, and then just clean it up from there.
So going back on a Force of Nature's draft, something that I don't think Labour's played in quite a few weeks, the Orianna. He was drawing bans in the middle of the season after a really good season opener on that, and by Oriana can be a pretty scary combo.
I feel like the Oriana players in this league have had a lot of success on that, and we haven't seen that champion that much after the big first quarter to half of the season. Like
Well,
Oriana
we've
was
seen a
winning.
lot of bans at it. It's been banned against me a couple of times recently until there's been like a couple other power picks that I was wanting to pick over it for specific games. I think there was another one. I can't remember who the third. There's another mid laner I think that was getting. I think Vivaret was actually also getting Oriana bans as well, if I remember right.
He was. So, looking at these drafts, do you guys feel like either team had a substantially better draft than the other?
I really, really love Forces of Nature's team comp. I just feel like everything about that just is very easy to get in and just play. They're not waiting for any sort of picks. There's nothing like too hard about that. They can Ash Arrow, they can Brahma, they can Vi ult, they Ori ult. Like it just works together. I feel a lot better than Sharkbait HooHa's.
I'm also actually. I don't think it's a ton better. I think Sharkbait HooHa has actually got a very, very, very powerful mid game spike. Their level 6 fight's actually probably a bit stronger than Forces of Nature, and like they're just mid game level in general, like from like level 6 to 12, even like going into like 13. They just have a lot of raw power there that they can be able to exert and abuse over Forces of Nature. And if they are aware and willing to use those power spikes correctly, they can build up enough of a lead that Forces of Nature can't come back from. But that implies that they have to do either start getting a lead in laning phase or make sure to use that advantage somehow, either in the form of taking extra towers or securing leads in dragons.
All right, guys. Money where the mouth is. Who's going to take game one of this set?
Force of Nature.
Tim?
I'm thinking. I'm gonna go ahead and also go with Forces of Nature.
Well, and that looks like 3-0 on the analyst desk in favor of Forces of Nature. Which, they were the higher seed, slightly more hyped team here, so we'll see if they can live up to that status.
Wang, I'd rather get your. We didn't hear your position. Which team do you think is gonna win this series overall, and what do you think the score is going to be?
I actually, despite me saying Forces of Nature for this game, back then, I definitely thought that this was going to be a tight series. I think it's going to be 3-2 in favor of Sharkbait HooHa. I think they just have the overall better team. I think they've looked better in, despite losing to Guerrilla Radio. I think that they have looked better in their games that they have been winning throughout the game.
Yeah, I don't think I said mine. I think it's going to be 3-2 in the favor of Forces of Nature. I think that because I agree with many of the points you made, Wang. I think there's a couple of times where they just choke really hard and make just big mistakes. And I think that over the course of a 5-game series, we might see that once or twice, or might even put them in tilt. And I think Force of Nature will be able to capitalize on that.
Yeah, there are definitely some tilty players in this series. If it starts going real badly for either team, obviously I'm Just Dan and Blabur both have kind of reputations for being tilters, and Dubdrum absolutely tilts when he's not doing well.
Yeah.
So this game could have quite the emotional impact on the rest of the series.
Yeah. Well, I definitely expect this series to go to 4 or 5, and most likely 5. I would not be surprised if it ends up being a 3-0 in one team's favor if like just the first game goes poorly enough and then just the tilt train comes.
I think that tilt factors in SBL at all have never really affected anybody. I feel like there's way too much on this player tilts and this player doesn't tilt, and I don't think that we have seen games decided on tilt factors.
Well, Wang, your teams have been the underdog in every season you've ever played, so you probably wouldn't know when it gets to a deeper level.
I totally disagree with that statement. I think there's been plenty of games. I think there's been games this season decided by tilt. But that's a story for another time. We're getting in here. We get the level one. We got the level 1 going on.
Yeah, so nothing happening in this level 1. Sharkbait dropping 3 wards. Forces of Nature going to get out with just dropping 1. Yet neither team makes any moves. No team is going to gain any vision here. So I guess technically a win for Forces of Nature because they dropped 1 fewer ward, but...
Well, not only that, but they actually got a very important word where they got to see where Strip and Dubdrum are starting. So they know that Dubdrum is starting at the Stone Bros.
Yeah,
Their word action at them information.
Very big fan of doing this double jungle thing. So, looks like he's going to just take some of the EXP and one of the last hits there. But I don't think that Strip is going to be using his teleport. We'll see in a moment, though. Otherwise, as expected in the Baddie League, we got standard lanes coming out here. And Xmas actually gets a big death sentence, but a few autos followed up by Pyro Hibbs. Ultimately a wash on that trade, really. And so looking at this jungle start, Strip could have taken a little more damage on those camps if he was planning to use his teleports.
Yeah, that is
surprised that didn't happen.
That is super huge for Wukong jungle without the sustain. Being able to gank with red buff. Because now Wukong pretty much has to back if he wants to get to lane. And by then you almost lose all of your red buff.
And I'm just Dan not using the advantage he has in top lane to shove this in the tower. So Madam Strip should be able to get a good freeze going up there. Be very nice for him.
Well, with the way the minions are set up actually right now, Strip's actually going to have a freeze going on. The minions are very much in his favor. So he's actually going to be shoving out.
Oh, he might have chose to make that then. From looking at the creeps earlier, he had the ability to freeze. Not that he's normally the type of top laner to do that sort of thing, but, you know, as a former top laner, as a top lane survivor, I know a lot about the lane moves.
The top lane survivor.
So, these lanes are playing out early. Little CS advantage going over towards Iroh Hibbs early. And hook on to 30. 30 gonna draw all of his damage away and tree the first 80 carry to turn onto the other 80 carry. But just a boring Braum Blade trade. Braum is just so good, and that's awful.
It's a very safe support.
It's so frustrating to play against because you can't outplay a Braum. You can dodge when he comes in, but you just can't deal damage to him or his AD carry, no matter how well you're playing. But for no reason, Hibbs goes very deep into melee there. But no capitalization from the FoN bot.
Yep. Well, most of these lanes are starting to stabilize. We're actually seeing a bit of a CS lead develop mid. He has a two-way, almost. He has basically a two-wave advantage probably after all these go down over Babu, showing his dominance. While a lot of people, while Blav's definitely been in contention for one of the top mid laners, Vivret is probably a stronger laner than him. Just Blav needs to be better in the team fight.
Lane, we see Dubdrum going in as a fight breaks out in the top lane. Directed camera fucks up everything. A lot of damage goes down to Tree in 30. Tree actually had to flash out of that, but Failed Destiny popped his flash to start the trade as well. And ultimately, no one goes down.
Yeah, we'll probably end up seeing a return trip from Dubdrum now that he knows that Tree doesn't have flash. Just try to take advantage of the summoner spells being down and try to get a successful gank off.
That's a really big thing versus Forces of Nature. Tree has had so many games where he's gone 7-0, 8-0, where he just, if he doesn't get beat in the laning phase, he just DPSs and team fights so well and never compromises himself. So I definitely think that should be a priority for Sharkbait, is getting Tree behind. We'll see if that happens. And some actually good damage going on in this